Hey guys, good morning. Tony Bruce, CPA, more than just an accountant. And you know what we're going to talk about today? That. Is that a tax deduction? It's probably one of the most common questions I get. So just hold on a second and let's think about it. Okay, so vehicles, how are they or are they deductions in business? Well, like any business deduction, there has to be a business purpose. It has to be ordinary and necessary for your line of business. Reasonable and rational is what I also like to add on. But seriously, what about that pickup truck? What about your SUV? What about a passenger vehicle? Well, here's the first thing I want you to come away with right now. No matter what method you use, you need to substantiate, remember those words, corroborating evidence? You need to substantiate the use of your vehicle in business. And the way you do that, the gold standard, what the IRS looks for, is a mileage log. That's right, a mileage log. Wait a second, gasoline prices are so expensive, inflation, etc. I don't want to use the mileage deduction. I'm not saying you have to use the mileage deduction. What I'm saying to you is, no matter what method you use, whether it's the mileage deduction or the actual expense, you must have a mileage log that proves what your deduction and what your use of the vehicle is in your business. You could do an old-fashioned planner, calendar, where you jot down at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, and you also note each trip, or you can go sophisticated, like one of the apps we have today on our phones. One of my favorites that I like is Mile IQ, and we'll talk about that in another video where we'll do a quick review of Mile IQ. They follow you around, right? They know, they start to memorize your trips. So let's say we leave an office complex like this, and we're on our way to see a customer, a vendor, have a client meeting, go out to Home Depot, for example, if we're a contractor, going to the supply house, whatever the purpose of that trip is. If it's for business, you need to be able to substantiate that mileage, and that's with a mileage log. So that's the first key takeaway I want you to have. The second key takeaway I want you to have is that there are basically three classes in the tax code of vehicles. There are the biggies, trucks and vans. Think F-150s and Dodge Rams and whatever else you like. Redding, plumber, contractor, you have all your stuff in there, your tools, your tool beds, your toolboxes, etc. Or you might have a passenger vehicle that can transport people, 10, 12, 15 people. Those trucks and vans are the biggest category. The middle category, in terms of deductions, I would say, are SUVs. And there's large and small. We won't get into too many of the details, but just note that that's probably the second largest deduction. At the bottom of the ladder, you guessed it, passenger vehicles. Passenger vehicles probably give you the lowest deduction in terms of the pure monetary value, especially if you're driving a luxury vehicle, because guess what? There's all these luxury vehicle add-backs. We'll talk about that in a second too, air travel and how that goes. We talked about that in the last video, but we'll talk about whether or not a use of a jet in your business makes sense or not. So having said that, what else do we need to do? Well, we need to jot down, again, where we went, who we went to see, why we did it. Perhaps on your calendar, perhaps in your app, perhaps in your handwritten notes. But at the end of the day, a purchase of a vehicle is probably going to give you, in most cases, not all, a better deduction than the lease of a vehicle, right? A purchase of a vehicle, as opposed to leasing, which in pure sense means renting the vehicle, right? So, what are we talking about? The vehicle can still be 100% financed, for example, but not only do you have to purchase the vehicle, the second standard is it has to be placed in service. So as soon as you leave the showroom floor or the lot, whatever the case may be, you need to get that vehicle used that day in service. So if you're an exterminator, you need to go out and visit your customer. You need to go to your supplier. You need to show that you used that vehicle that day, not only just purchased it. So I hope this helps. I hope it gives you a better idea. We can get into sophisticated ideas like depreciation, bonus, Section 179 standard. Basically, what bonus depreciations do for vehicles in general is give you the potential capability of writing it off sooner, quicker, faster. What's the whole point of getting the vehicle deduction for gas, insurance, mileage logs, mileage, if you're going to use the mileage method, depreciation, maintenance, repairs, costs, improvements to the vehicle. Maybe perhaps you had to add additional toolboxes and things of that nature. What's the purpose of that? To get a greater tax deduction. With a greater tax deduction, we're saving on taxes when we're self-employed. When we're self-employed and we're getting a greater tax deduction, we can lower our what? You know it, estimated payments, which increases cash flow, especially in this time of high inflation. As we know, inflation is a hidden tax. So again, get out there, use your vehicles in business, track your miles, show where you did it, and how you can get those deductions reported and collected in your business to reduce your tax bill. If you have a specific question, remember, you can't rely upon this. It's not specific advice for you. Disclaimer, disclaimer. This is meant to be general information to give you an idea of how you deduct that in your business. By the way, I have that. That's mine. So the point being is how do you deduct that vehicle? How do you reduce your tax bill? Through proper tax planning. And again, not specific advice, just general info. If you want to get together and you want to talk, we could do a meeting, we could do a Teams chat, we could do a Zoom. We could talk about your specific circumstances. If you have any questions or comments, comment below. Remember what I said. If there's a particular question that's been bugging you, or you have something about this vehicle that I may be able to clarify a little bit, or other vehicles you're using in your business, let me know. But best thing you could do if you find this information useful, and I hope you do, is to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Hope to talk to you soon, and we'll see what we're going to talk about next time. Tony Bruce, CPA, more than just an accountant. Have a great day.